When you are in this vortex of creation, you are living as you've intended to be. So we want to show you how to get in, and we want to show you how to sustain being there as long as you can. In other words, once you get in, we want you to milk it and stay in, because the longer you are in there, the more of what you've been asking for can be revealed and received by you. But we do not want to give you the impression that it is your job to always and only be in the vortex. If that were your intention, you would have remained dead like us. If that were your intention, you would have remained only this pure positive energy that's always in the vortex. But you came forth with the intention of sometimes stepping out of the vortex into the contrast to know what you don't want so that you can know what you do want. You just did not one of you, ever intend to make a lifetime career of being out of the vortex. You didn't plan on making it a career to be in the step one phase. And step one is ask. And contrast induces the asking. What you did plan was to step out into the real world long enough to see the contrasting elements of it in order to decipher what you want, in order to give birth to what you want. But you intended, every one of you, to then, once you have decided what you want, to then give your undivided attention to what you want. And undivided takes on a whole new meaning here today, doesn't it? Your undivided attention, meaning your attention undivided or same as the attention that the source within you is giving. When you look at someone and you see a flaw in them, you find fault with them, you see them as inappropriate in some way, you step away from who you really are, because the source within you will not do that, not ever, not one time ever. Every particle of negative emotion that you feel is because you have found a vibrational stance or attitude or opinion or mood or belief, an active vibration, that's all that stuff is, an active vibration that disagrees with the active vibration of the source within you. So, I'm not enough always disagrees, because source knows who you are. You're not enough always disagrees, because source knows who you are. You are bad, you are wrong, you are inappropriate always causes a distortion or a separation between you and you, because source is not making those judgments. There is an inside the vortex source that is the love and the culmination of all that has become. And we so want to find a way of you finding the resonance with that within you. Can't you think of holding someone, usually someone precious to you, usually someone young like a baby or a dog, someone that you were holding with adoration? In other words, that person has not yet cheated you, deceived you, mocked you, blamed you, or bitten you. And so, as you focus upon the positive aspects of this, you resonate with the positive aspects that the source within you feels. As humans, often, you want to sort behavior and people and beliefs and attitudes and desires into piles of right and wrong, and then you want to praise some piles while you condemn others. And what we want you to understand is that any pile you're praising causes source to be there with you, but any pile you're condemning causes you to deviate from source. Source will not join you in negative judgment or in pushing against anything unwanted, because source understands the way the universe works. Source understands that when you know what you don't want, an equal and equivalent desire is born. And source gives its undivided attention to that. That's why there is an eternal expansion and evolution of all things. If you could become so convincing that you could get source to come and join you in your negative contemplation, then there would be no source and there would be no eternity. Now, don't worry about it. It cannot happen. Non-physical energy is too smart for that. Sometimes humans say, well, that's not the story I heard about God. I heard that he holds very strict standards. We say, yeah, there's a lot of confusion about what those standards are, isn't there? You're killing each other all day, every day over your discontent or non-agreement about what you think God thinks you should do. But you say, no, the God that I've heard about holds very strict, very, very strict rules. And when I keep those rules, I am loved by God. But when I break those rules, then I receive the wrath of God. Then I am condemned by God. And we say, that is a God that man has fashioned when he was outside of the vortex. Because we promise you that that which is source, that which is the source of you, and that which is the source of all that you know, is a pure, positive energy, expanding force, evolving because of the asking that is constantly taking place on the leading edge of creation. It's a wonderful thing to realize who you are. And you know, you can figure it out personally. You don't have to take anybody else's word for it. Just get out there and do your own personal testing of who you are and who God is. Put this conversation that we've given you here to your own personal laboratory test. Find someone and focus upon the positive aspects of that person and maintain your attention to that until you feel the swelling and the fulfilling and the becoming of that broader energy. Feel what it feels like when the energy that creates worlds flows with agreement through you toward your object of attention. And then find something that you think is unjust. Find something that you think is inappropriate. Poke at it with a stick. Focus on it for a while. Bring yourself to a place of discontent and anger and frustration. Get into an attitude of real wrongdoing about it. And feel the emptiness of your being that is what is expressed through the negative emotions that you call depression or fear or anger or resentment or rebellion. Feel that emotion and ask yourself, does this feel like I'm filled up with the energy of source? Or have I managed to empty myself out by choosing something so contrary to that which source is that I've pinched myself off temporarily from that energy stream? So when you become acquainted consciously and deliberately with the guidance system that you are born with, when you start paying attention to the vibrational frequencies of harmony and allowing and alignment and blending, or of resistance and discord, when you start paying attention to the way you feel, you'll know whether you're in tune with who you are or not. Now here's the most important part of all of this, because some of you are hearing us in this context. You've come this far with us. You say, all right, Abraham, I accept that source exists, and I accept that I exist, and I can sort of kind of get it, that I can feel when I'm in sync with the love of source and when I'm not. And we say, but the story is bigger still. The reason that you, in your physical body, feel any negative emotion or any positive emotion, the reason that you feel the vibrational relationship is because in your living of life, you keep asking for more. And in that asking, hear this, in that asking, you keep becoming. When you ask, you become immediately what you're asking for. When you are sick and you ask for wellness, vibrationally speaking, you become it immediately. So the larger part of you has become well in your asking. And asking and asking and asking and asking and asking and asking. It happened the first time, but each time you ask, you amend the desire. So the vibrational body, that is you, has become weller every time you were sick. The vibrational beingness of you became more prosperous every time you felt not enough of something that you wanted or needed. So this vibrational aspect of you has already become more, and the emotion that you feel is completely and only about how well you're keeping up with your expansion or not. When you came into this body, you already had the love thing nailed. You already had the I'm worthy beyond verbal description nailed. You knew that when you came. But you came to have more exposure to more life in order to evolve into yet more and more and more and more and more. And you've been doing it, every one of you, and your emotions let you know this one very important thing: how well you are keeping up with you, or how not well you are keeping up with you. So your emotions are so important. They are your guidance system. When you get here, a lot of others around you who have forgotten that, it's easy for them to remember it when they hear it, though. The resonance within them tells them that. but they've temporarily forgotten. And so they're looking at you, and when you're behaving by their standards in the appropriate way, which usually means you had to be born in their vicinity and only hear the things that they were talking about, because if you get out into the world, you get confused right away, because there are a whole lot of people living a whole lot of things in a whole lot of different ways. But so here you are, you're born, and they're looking at you. And if you're keeping the rules that they've set up for you, then they feel appreciation or approval of you, depending upon what's going on with them. But if you behave, they will like you. But if you misbehave, then they won't. And since their liking you seems to be important, that's another big long story, isn't it? You begin to cater to their approval and disapproval. So without meaning to, you've given up this eternal, do you know how long this guidance system has been in place for you? You give up this eternal association with what you call God, and you turn it over to someone who's having a bad day. And then over time, you become more and more confused, because the broader your world becomes, the more different people ask different things of you. You ever had a mother that wanted you in by 10 and a girlfriend that never wanted you to go home? Which one do you please? And that story gets bigger, doesn't it? In other words, when you turn your guidance over to trying to get approval or appreciation from someone outside of your own guidance system, you lose your way. And then outside of this vortex, things are harder. Because when you are outside the vortex of creation, you don't have the benefit of the cooperative universe. You don't have the natural flow of things working for you. So you work harder. It takes more effort. In your confusion, you can't get it right. In your confusion, you can hardly figure out how to get your body moving. In your confusion, you keep bumping up against harder and harder things. But if you will, at any point, and maybe today is a good day, decide that you're going to let your emotional guidance system be your indicator of whether you're in the vortex where the rendezvousing with what you want is taking place, or whether you're out of the vortex where you're trying to use your action in order to make things happen, and you're bucking all of the currents of the universe, especially your own current of what you want. When you make this vortex really, really important, and you decide that nothing is more important than that I feel good. Because when I feel good, when I'm full of love, I'm in there with all that I am. And when I'm full of hate, I'm outside the vortex on the raw and ragged edge of things. So, now you know everything that is important to know. We are eager to talk with you about anything that matters to you. You will notice that everything that we say is in our desire to help call you into the vortex. We've written a handful of books, and every one of them is full of processes, and every process is there for the singular reason of helping you to find vibrational alignment with who you really are. This is the art of allowing, which is the art of releasing resistance. But when you focus upon the resistance that you're trying to release, you activate it. When you focus upon the allowing you want to achieve, you activate that.